This program has been brought to you through the generous support of the City of Glenwood Springs, Colorado. We invite you to learn more about this year-round destination at visitglenwood.com.
Welcome to an exciting new season of Street Level. I'm your host, Juliana Broste, and this season we're packing a bag and heading to Glenwood Springs, the land of water. Home to a wealth of natural wonders, including the awe-inspiring Glenwood Canyon, known as the gateway to western Colorado. This season we'll explore the natural bounties of this Rocky Mountain gem. And we'll delve into the rich history of the valley and get to know the visionary pioneers who helped shape this modern-day vacation destination. Coming to you tonight from the Grand Dame of Glenwood Springs, the Hotel Colorado, established in 1893 during a thrilling time in the history of America's West. The hotel originator, Walter Devereaux, spared no expense in its creation. The Hotel Colorado has served the community for 121 years with legendary hospitality. But even before this great hotel was built, Glenwood Springs was known for its key natural resource, its hot springs. Let's dive into a brief history of the hot springs and vapor caves, each drawing thousands of visitors every year. Producer Heather Domko shares some insight on how the land of water came to be.
The Ute Indians, the Nooch as they're called among themselves, were in this area, and it was a breadbasket for them. So they were able to take advantage of all the resources in this area, including the hot springs that they used just like we do today. And they were smart enough to know how to get in and out of the area, and so their trails became then the way of transportation of the future of how to get into Glenwood Springs from the flat tops. Glenwood was incorporated in 1884, 1885. The first settlers were 1879. So there were, a lot of interest in the area and realization that money could be made from bringing people here to enjoy and use the hot springs.
The man that claimed the land where the hot springs now is, his name was James Landis, and he was the first white settler here in Glenwood Springs. And he claimed that land, and he sold it to Isaac Cooper for $1,500. And Isaac Cooper was instrumental in developing the hot springs.
Walter Devereaux and Isaac Cooper worked together to develop the area.
Walter Devereaux was a man who had some vision about what this particular spot in the Roaring Fork Valley could become. And he had the money as a pretty wealthy mining engineer to be able to put that money out and develop the hot springs, put in the Hotel Colorado. And so I think those things are really important because that history has a lot of meaning. It's carried through now to today, and he had a profound influence on Glenwood Springs and sort of set the path for the future.
Well, one thing about the hot springs that a lot of people don't know is that they used to bottle and sell that water, and they called it Yampa water. And they would sell it because it cured a multitude of diseases, including baldness.
A lot of people used the hot springs for their health. There were all sorts of ideas about how the minerals would help you. Today, people come here for the same reason, to relax, so for their health.
Glenwood Hot Springs is a complete resort. It initially started as a hot springs pool back in 1888 when it was originally established. And as many more people began to come here and soak and enjoy the hot springs, it evolved into a complete resort. Mother Nature gave us a fantastic source of geothermal springs. It was turned into a hot springs pool as it was funneled and channeled into a soaking ability for everyone to come and enjoy. concrete pool is the main, primary, and the largest hot springs pool in the United States, if not the world. We added the therapy pool to the end of it many years ago, so we have a couple of different degrees of soaking temperatures available. The hot springs has 15 minerals in the water. We have key minerals such as sulfur, magnesium. Sulfur is essential for collagen production of the skin. It's great for the hair and nails. You ingest that by soaking in it. Dermally, your skin will absorb these, as well as inhalation of the steam off the water. So magnesium as well. Lithium's also in there. It's a very relaxing component for mental and physical well-being. We have quite a few clients that come into the athletic club consistently, come into the spa consistently, that have had all kinds of ailments throughout their lives. We have a couple of clients that have come in wheelchair bound, started a really good regimen on soaking and good hydrotherapy and physical therapy.
My name's George Scherer, and I've been a member here at the club for almost 20 years now. I had a major spinal cord injury almost 2 years ago. It's devastating to think that your mobility is just cut out from underneath you, and whether or not you're going to be able to walk again.
So not only have George and I worked in the athletic club on doing floor exercises and on some of the fitness equipment and the machines, we also have incorporated the balneology, which is basically aquatic therapy and really allows the movement to start again.
I feel blessed that I've gone from a hospital bed to being able to walk on my own, come here on my own, climb stairs, get into the pool, exercise, and keep moving forward.
This is the Yampa Spa and Vapor Caves. We've been here in continuous operation for 124 years. Actually one of the oldest spas in the country, and we're really unique because we are the only natural vapor caves in the Northern Hemisphere. Well, the history of the caves really goes back about 800 years. The Ute elders we've talked with tell us that the Utes and the Northern Arapahoes, the Apaches, all fought battles for control of these caves. Not actually this cave. The original Indian cave is on the south side of the river. It was a cavern about 20 by 30 feet with an opening in the top where they would lower sick or people for ceremony into the caves. Cave number 2 is directly across the river from us. The cave was made famous by Doc Holliday, who came here for his lung problem. We're actually cave number 3. Devereaux excavated these caves in 1892. They weren't actually excavated. To get into the caves, you had to crawl on your belly through a tiny opening. The original Indian cave was known for healing. Yampa means big medicine. So I really believe it was more healing than ceremony. Glenwood was a really unique vacation spot at the turn of the century. Caves were famous with everybody that came here, from Molly Brown, President Roosevelt visited, Al Capone visited. The resource has always been there. The steam comes out of the mountain no matter what we do. We're required by law to take that water and put it right back into the river the same way it came out of the mountain, and we do.
The Yampa Caves are the history of the community. When people came here, they came here and stopped here on their travels to use the steam caves and to soak in the hot water. We have many, many people that come here year after year because they get a lot of relief from arthritis, just from general tension in their body. And they feel the difference when they leave, so they come back.
This spring in itself was developed in 1896 by the local sheriff. He bought the land, started using the spring, and built the facility up. So this was the commoners' hot springs. One of the springs was called Hobo Springs, so it's from the railroad hobos that would come in. But later on in the 60s, it kind of went in disrepair, and eventually in the 90s, they just bulldozed the property, and it just sat here vacant until we opened it up last year. The thing about this spring that makes this a little different than the other hot springs is we have a high concentration of iron, which is very relaxing and rejuvenating. So, but we have another 27 minerals, I believe, in our pools, and they're all natural. And the cool thing is that this water comes from the ground. Within 5 minutes, it goes right into the pool. So we don't treat it, we don't put any chemicals in it, we don't add any fresh water. People are soaking in stuff that's come right from the earth. We let people soak in the water, then we take more of the heat out to utilize throughout the property before we put the water into the river.
The history of Glenwood Springs is something we're proud of trying to enlighten people with. And so, you know, it's our job to try to bring that story alive.
The hot springs in Glenwood, that is our biggest industry here. It draws people from all over. It's a wonderful place.
The Hotel Colorado has had many high-profile guests over the years, ranging from presidents to infamous gangsters. Perhaps the most beloved was Teddy Roosevelt. Glenwood Springs delighted him so much that he returned year after year. And according to legend, the world's most irresistible toy, the teddy bear, was born right here at Hotel Colorado to honor the 26th president. Teddy Roosevelt would agree that Glenwood Springs is truly a town for all seasons. The hot springs and vapor caves delight year-round, and there are so many ways to connect with nature and the outdoors. Versatile Productions correspondent Elizabeth Drolet catches up with the Liston Brothers, who were born and raised right here, and they share the benefits of living in a town for all seasons.
Welcome to Glenwood Canyon, a year-round destination. And I'm here where it all starts, the heart and soul of outdoor recreation, Glenwood Canyon. This canyon stands 2,000 feet above the Colorado River and stretches in a mesmerizing 12 miles down I-70. A pre-interstate road did exist. Records of teams of wagons can be found that date back to the 1880s. I-70 throughout the canyon is considered an engineering marvel. From 1980 to 1992, as many as 500 employees worked on the canyon every day to construct the $490 million highway into the delicate canyon environment. From rafting to hiking to biking to rock climbing, this area draws thousands every year for outdoor play. Today we're going to talk to two brothers who not only grew up in Glenwood Springs, but have built a livelihood around outdoor recreation because simply they never found a reason to leave.
Well, we grew up on 40 acres. I mean, all of us kids. And then when my parents moved into downtown Glenwood Springs, the river was just a couple blocks away. And so, we'd always go explore and, explore the caves in the canyon, explore along the river and swim out to different rocks. And eventually sort of all started to develop from there, from just floating down the river in life jackets and tubes, and now rafts. Hi, brother! Hey, brother! Woo! That's a brother.
That's the youngest one.
So let's talk about your family then. You come from a big one, five kids, right?
Yeah.
And they're all have been raft guides.
There's 5 of us kids, and 4 of us have been raft guides through the years. Caleb started in...
I started in 2001. Our sister Rachel started in 2002. Saul here started in 2003, and then 2 years later, our youngest brother Levi started in 2005. Throughout the course of all of our lives, we've all wandered, Denver, Fort Collins, who knows where else, but seemed to find our way back here to Glenwood.
So what brought us back to Glenwood Springs is really, for us, it was partly being around the family and the sense of community that was here. And raft guiding really has just kept that engagement and sharing. We live in such a beautiful place, and for me, it's sharing that as well. Growing up in the large family that we have, it was always bringing in extra kids and always having that flair. And that's one of the things that we love about Glenwood Springs is because it does attract an international crowd.
We live where people vacation. I think that's the best way to sum it up. People come from all over the world to here, where we were born and raised. They come to vacation, and what's all talked about is being able to share that with people. For being on the river, that's one of the greatest things when you're floating down this canyon, and people have never seen a canyon like this before ever. They may be from the Midwest, they may be from Europe, who knows where. They've never seen this before, and to see their awe at the canyon, at the water, at the wildlife, the bighorn sheep, the mink, whatever it is just I think it's just pretty amazing. And to be able to share that with people is a great experience. One of the things when we're floating down the river is we point out that there's this bike path that runs the whole length of the canyon. That was built when they built the I-70 through here in the mid 80s and 90s. And it's just a bike path that runs 16 miles from Glenwood out to the east end of the canyon, which I think is probably one of the most popular activities to do in the canyon besides rafting. And then a few years ago, they also put in what's called the Rio Grande Trail, which starts right at the confluence of the Colorado River and the Roaring Fork, and it follows the old Rio Grande Railway all the way up to Aspen. So there's just plenty of biking options. I mean, those are, you know, road biking, but mountain biking, there's Boy Scout Trail, Red Mountain Trail.
A lot of people know Hanging Lake Hike in Glenwood Springs, which is an absolutely gorgeous hike with the lake hanging on the cliff. But there are so many other places to explore locally around Glenwood. Jesse Weaver Trail up No Name is a gorgeous trail. A lot of history up there with the original aqueduct running into town. So your options and opportunities to explore and to engage is endless.
Glenwood Springs is just as exciting in the winter, where you can ski, stay, and swim. Sunlight Mountain is all about spending time with family. Skiers and snowboarders of all ability levels will find plenty to smile about. You can cross-country ski, snowmobile, or choose from two of the best hot springs in Colorado to relax and rejuvenate. And this is what keeps people coming all year round.
One of the things that makes Glenwood really unique is with the two rivers, the Colorado River and the Roaring Fork River converging right in the heart of Glenwood Springs. Fishing is extremely popular here. The Roaring Fork River is known for the gold medal water fishing. The Colorado, especially later season, becomes very popular. And it's just another way to spend time out in nature, engaging with an aspect of nature and with fishing.
So when fishing on the Roaring Fork River, I mean, you'll see a lot of people fishing from the shore, but there's actually a lot of commercial companies that'll take you on guided fishing tours. They have what are called floating dories, which are like a hard shell boat, and they just, you know, will take you down either Roaring Fork or the Colorado, or a combination of the both, and just let you have your pleasant day of fishing on the river.
Some of the recreations you have, looking at kayaking, Glenwood has the kayak wave, and that has actually been a really neat addition to Glenwood Springs. I mean, people are always there playing on the wave, but it's not just kayakers. I think one of the unexpected intrigues of the wave were the surfers that showed up. Glenwood sits in a valley, and so there's two peaks that the paragliders can launch from. The experience of paragliding, if you've never been before, when you're on top of the mountain overlooking sort of the vista of Glenwood Springs and the canyon, you see Mount Sopris off in the distance and the canyon. But as you sit there, you're just soaring above the mountaintops and the blue sky of Colorado, and it's stunning.
How has being outdoors your entire life shaped who you are today?
One of the calls for us to always consider Glenwood home is, you know, our pride. We're born and raised here in Glenwood Springs, and the pride of the beauty, the pride of how we engage with it, the pride of, and it's part of the joy of sharing with people is that pride.
I have long said that my soul resides in these mountains, and it's not just from being born here, but everything that we do, from being on the river to whether it's water training with the dogs on the river, to hiking with the family, to spending time at the mountain cabin, this is where my soul resides, and this is where it'll always be.
Next, Versatile Productions sits down with John Goss, the artistic managing director of the Glenwood Vaudeville Revue. It's a cherished theater company with a lot of spirit and heart that has become a favorite for locals and visitors alike.
Vaudeville theater was once the most popular form of entertainment in the United States. At the turn of the century, the variety show, filled with comedy, music, and song, offered something for everyone. The Glenwood Vaudeville Revue, located right here in downtown Glenwood Springs, captures the spirit nightly in their dinner theater performances. We caught up with founder John Goss to hear more about this special place.
Well, I got into all of this because when I was very young, I started in the melodrama circuit. And in the melodrama circuit, they always did a melodrama or melodrama. There's many different styles that were out there, but they always did some kind of a pre-show or an after show called an olio or a pre-show or a vaudeville. So they would add that old-timey vaudeville half-an-hour show to the melodrama, which was old-fashioned too. So they kind of went together. But it was a way of adding comedy and music to the melodrama, which was just basically a play, just a scripted storyline, and people acted it out, right? So when I was much more of a singer and a dancer at the time when I was younger than I was, quote, an actor. And I would be hired for the melodramas, and then I would be performing in a lot of these vaudeville shows. And as the years went by, I worked in probably 12 different melodrama-type theaters, and I would always be the person that I would end up performing or writing or putting those vaudeville shows together. And what started off as music, just music and reviews and, you know, a bunch of Americana stuff, which was great, I came in and I thought, you know, let's give this more comedy. Let's give it more uniqueness. Let's be more creative. Let's come up with other ideas and do more with it. So that's why and how I got into the vaudeville was back in the melodrama days when I was doing those vaudeville shows, and I thought, well, what if I just do 2 hours of just vaudeville? And I specifically chose this vaudeville style because the way I look at it, just like they did back then, back in the old days, is anything that was entertaining. They would find something and go, this is great, I'm going to throw it in this particular vaudeville show. So we have a core of people, we focus on comedy. I think people like to laugh most of all. But what we focus on is just finding anything that really entertains people. And that can be anything from a straight skit to a beautiful song. Performed beautifully, whether it be with other instruments or just beautiful voices, something powerful, something moving, maybe a tap number. But what's really fun for me is taking really unique, bizarre ideas. Like in our show, one of the most popular bits we ever do is taking these small bodies. They look like little baby bodies. You get gassy when you slurp it. Then we take parodies of songs or rap numbers, or like we're doing a battle rap between Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson. So we got this little baby Michael Jackson, this little baby Elvis Presley, and they have a battle rap between them. And the visual concept behind the wacky stuff that we're saying and the rhymes and stuff and the whole weird uniqueness of it all. People are truly surprised at some of the stuff we throw on the stage. I've literally had guys say, I've come in again to see what weird thing you're going to do on that stage again and make me laugh. And we're proud of that, coming up with real original, unique ideas. And one of the great elements of our particular vaudeville review is it is a dinner theater. We specifically set that up because we love the interaction. We have a wonderful menu. We serve a bunch of stuff from our local restaurants. So instead of trying to do everything ourselves, we bring in food from 6 or 7 other popular restaurants, soups and quiche and meatloaf and beef stroganoff and chicken and different things that come in from other places, and we serve that here. But it also gives our actors perform, wait on the tables and wait on the people that come in. It gives them a chance to build a rapport with them. They become friends, and everybody gets to know each other, and then they see them up on stage, and then we serve them drinks. So it's really a whole night. It's a 3-hour event of, oh, I get to know this guy, and he's bringing me all my stuff, and now he's making me laugh up on stage, and now there's this aspect of it, now my kids are up on stage, and then they're, so by adding the food and the drink, it also is good business sense to bring in more revenue that way, but to make it more of an evening instead of a snuffy, you know, kind of sitting down at your chair at a dramatic theater event and analyzing the artistic value and the symbolism of it all. You know, no, we're just cutting loose and having a good time.
Across the road, I'm trying to stay alive as another drop moron going 95. He's looking at his hand, I don't think I'll survive. There's a new law now, don't test and drive.
It's an extremely creative show in the ideas and the concepts, the original stuff we put on the stage. Also because of the extreme talent that we've got here, the comedic talent, the ability, musically, physically, timing-wise, very talented group that then takes the creative idea and they go more with it, they do more with it. Also, the intimacy of the setting, The way we're set up here is very close, it's very personal, you get the audience involved. The rapid energy of the show, keep it moving. Give them numbers that are I call them, sometimes I'll joke with people, it's a very ADD kind of show. You're just, ooh, what's next? Wow, I wasn't expecting that, and that's very different from the last thing, and this is ridiculous. My kids are dying on this one. My grandparents really loved that number. And then it just is, you don't know what's coming next. And you're just constantly being surprised by the next thing. Usually comedy, but you just never know. And that's what's fun about it.
What do you think the vaudeville has brought Glenwood, the community?
I knew we were really doing something great for Glenwood when I knew that we had kind of passed a certain level of business-wise in my mind, in my psyche, is when we started getting people from Denver coming back every summer. They'll say, we had to come back to see the next summer show. We have to come back now. We used to go to different places every summer. Now we come back to Glenwood Springs because we want to see the next show and enjoy the pool and do other things that are happening in Glenwood Springs.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
We're having a great time here in Glenwood Springs, and we've only begun to scratch the surface. So we'll be staying around the entire season to take a closer look at this amazing town with a truly colorful Colorado history. Next week, we'll get to know one of the Valley's most infamous residents, Doc Holliday, and we'll stop off at the Colorado Ranch House for Western-inspired and ranch-raised food. Then we'll send Powerhouse Bree Davies on a mission to relax at 3 world-class spas in the heart of the Valley. Many thanks to the City of Glenwood Springs, the Hotel Colorado, the Glenwood Springs Historical Society and Frontier Museum, as well as all the engaged business owners and wonderful residents of this beautiful town. And special thanks to Versatile Productions, a local production resource that is sharing a part of the Glenwood Springs experience through their eyes. I'm your host, Juliana Broste, and I'll see you next time on Street Level Glenwood Springs.